Hello, beautiful creators. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor, bringing you another video on how to raise your vibration so you can live your best life. Happy New Year. Happy holidays having passed. I am bringing to you today tips on how to overcome sugar addiction. And it can happen so easily and so quickly during the holidays. And usually I don't have a problem with sweets. I might be more of a salty kind of craving person. Um, Typically, a piece of cake at a birthday party doesn't even seem appetizing to me because it'll hurt my tummy. But over the time, over the holidays, having a piece of candy or a piece of a cookie here and there, it sneaks in. It's a sneaky, sneaky little being. So, wanted to give you some tips and tricks today on how to overcome the sugar habit. And it can be a habit, it can be an addiction, it can come in 2 weeks, it could stay all year long. So, it's really up to us to take the reins and get a hold of our brain and our body and start to flush out all of those impurities. So I'm not a huge fan of New Year's resolutions, but if this happens to be yours, absolutely this could help. And if not, I highly encourage getting sugar out of your diet in the long term for more of a permanent solution to life, because it can really dull the senses. It can create anxiety. It can make us feel at odds with our body and our mind. There is definitely neurological things happening when we intake sugar, as well as obviously the dis-ease that can come from putting toxins into our body. So let's get into it. Did you know sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine? That's insane. Why is this so addictive? We have science to help us understand neurologically what is happening. When we consume very savory foods, whether that's high fat or high sugar, and it oftentimes is a combination of both, especially in processed foods, it sends our system wild. So we have to kind of go back to where did we evolve from? And so when we didn't have abundant food available to us all the time, if we found an avocado or we found some berries or we found something that wasn't common and frequently available, we would eat a lot of it. And so that helped our body kind of stock up on the stores. Well, now we live in the day and age where we can get a cookie at the gas station. Candy bars and sodas are a frequent occurrence, unfortunately. And so we haven't evolved the neural mechanisms quite yet to start to shift the way our body responds. And so when we intake this high amounts of sugar and fat regularly, our body and our brain become addicted to it. So what happens in the brain is there is a release of dopamine as well as serotonin when we have sugar. And of course, the brain is designed to realize, hey, that made me happy, that made me feel good, we enjoyed that, we should do that again. And unfortunately, the more we take it in, the less sensitized we are to it. So the less dopamine is created, the less serotonin is created. So it's kind of this vicious cycle where we become numb to the happy hormones that are being created, and we're not getting the same response in our bodies, and so we feel like we need more and more and more and more, and we're less and less and less and less able to enjoy it. And also what happens as we start to store the excess in our fat cells, we are limiting the ability of the body to regulate that spike in dopamine and serotonin. So typically, leptin and insulin will help us regulate that. It'll say, hey, you've had enough, let's decrease the ghrelin, the thing that makes you, the hormone that makes you feel hungry. It'll say you don't really need any more, we've already had enough. Well, when our fat stores grow, when we've had too much, that actually inhibits the production of the hormones that kind of dampen the hunger hormone and tell us we're not hungry anymore. So it's just, the perfect storm of all these different things. And so we have to understand cognitively, consciously, we have to have awareness of what's happening in our brain and say, we need to override these cravings. We need to override the the hunger. Crazy enough, salt and sugar will actually make you feel more hungry. That when you eat salt or sugar, it actually causes, and alcohol as well, it causes a drop in blood sugar, which means a release of insulin. And of course, insulin is necessary to draw in the glucose from our bloodstream into our cells to be used as energy. And so that when we are low in insulin, then the body says, well, we need to have more food. We need to eat more food to sort of balance out our blood sugar and stabilize our insulin levels. So even though from a physical caloric perspective, we don't need any more food, our body, because we ate the wrong foods, makes us feel even more hungry to try to stabilize the imbalance that's happening. So we have to use some of our intelligence and our awareness to say, oh, what's going on here? Yeah, we're going to have to stabilize that insulin level, that blood sugar. But then, of course, we're at a higher caloric density than we need to be for the day. And so then there'll have to be some rebalancing happening there. So sugar just really doesn't have a place. So I will say this, when I say, or what I have said sugar up until this point, I am referring to processed, refined carbs and sugars, things that are processed, right? Not naturally grown. I am not speaking to fruit. And if you notice that processed sugar causes a release of insulin, right? Refined carbs causes that release of insulin. We need our insulin, so now we got to get it back because the insulin helps the glucose get into the blood system and the cells. So the key to notice there is we need glucose, we need sugar. And actually you can look at the FDA website. It is widely known that we run on glucose, not processed sugar, healthy sugar, vegetables and fruits. So that's going to be your trick to getting out. So the first tip is to get rid of all of the processed sugar in the house. All the candies, all the cakes, all the ice creams, whatever you got left, it's got to go. My kids and they took their last bite of the gingerbread house last night. It's gone. We're done. So now we're in detox mode. So my favorite method of detoxing is juice fasting because we're going to crave the glucose. So we may as well just feed our body as much glucose as we can. The best way to get the minerals and the vitamins for the healing, to repair our system, as well as the nurturing, the feeding, the refeeding, especially if we are not aware that we need glucose, and especially if you're in any kind of low carb diet and in eating primarily either processed foods or meat, dairy, and eggs, all those things, your body's going to be starved for glucose. So juice fasting is an excellent way of refeeding. So once all the sugar's gone, we can start to nurture our body. I love juice fasting. My go-to juices, I start with a celery juice every day. I love, love, love oranges, orange juice, especially in the middle of the winter in Wisconsin where there's very little sunlight. I definitely feel, the increase in vitamin C and even I'm drinking sunshine is really how that feels to me. So I'm not sure on the science on that one yet. I could look into it for you. I love my scientific facts to prove the intuition, but I definitely need more sunshine because it's dreary outside. So vitamin D, as well as, likely vitamin D, vitamin C, and the drinking the sunshine is kind of what I get from oranges. Pineapple is another great one because you get a lot of juice for not so much money. Melons are also great. Lots of juice for low cost. Apples are abundant and relatively in season this time of year, having just come out of fall. So those are all really great fruits to juice. I tend to suggest fruits as much or more so than vegetables because you're getting more glucose. Green cleans and color feeds, so that's an important thing to remember. So greens are great, but if you try to force yourself to only have green juices, you're going to be lacking something. So make sure you're getting the fruit in there. Carrots are great. It's kind of cold outside, not kind of, it is very much cold. We're in the teens today. So sometimes I like to even have like a carrot tomato juice and warm that like a soup. So juice fasting should not feel like you're depriving yourself. Have fun with it. Drink as many fun juices as you can. Remember, food is information, so the more stuff you put in it, the more your body has to figure things out. The longer it will take to process, the longer it will take to get the nutrients to where they need to go. So mono juicing is great if you can, but again, don't put yourself in a position where you feel like you are depriving yourself. You should be having fun. Enjoy it, right? Joy is your compass. That's your key. So follow that. If you really want to step it up, I really like the lemon water fast. Some people use maple syrup in it. It's been called the lemon cleanse, but lemon water all day long is amazing. If you can get through 2-3 days of that, a week, 10 days, it's phenomenal how light and clean and clear you can feel. And I will say also this about juice fasting. I have never had a more clear connection to my intuition, to the divine, to God, to source. It's amazing how clear everything becomes. And by that, I'm indicating all of the bodies, right? The emotional body, the mental body, the physical body, the monkey mind calms down. You get more of a sense of just peace and tranquility, the more you clean and clear your body. So juice fasting is also great because you're going to be craving sweets. You're replacing those sweets with the juice. So if you can go into lemon water fasting, great. You want to step it up even more. I would say the ultimate cleanse is just water fasting. And that can be challenging in the first 24 to 48 hours, especially if you're highly toxic, because you're going to be purging a lot of those toxins. So you may want to ease into it. It's great to use the baby steps of juice fasting, then lemon water fasting, and then water fasting. We, as a community, have done some other longer term fasts where we juice fast for 20 days, and then a 3-day water fast after that. So it's amazing how even after 20 days of juicing and then 3 days of water fasting, there's still that purge. So there is always more. There's always more to get rid of. So that is phenomenal. Just make sure that when you come back, that you're coming back easily, that you're easing into soft fruits and vegetables, that you're not going into all of the processed junk again. If you must go there eventually, at least baby step into it. Otherwise, I would highly suggest removing all processed foods, anything that essentially isn't grown by Mother Earth, right? And keep those in their whole purest form as much as possible. Gluten, dairy, eggs, all those things are going to cause kind of that confusion that happens in your body. And you'll notice when you're clear, when you've done the juice fasting and the water fasting for a while, and then you go back and you eat a piece of bread or, cheese pizza or something like that, you'll notice the anxiety levels come back almost instantly. I like kombucha, and I even struggle to drink that after being cleansed and clear. So it's amazing. And forgive yourself for anything that you need to go through to kind of test this out and do that 2 steps forward, 1 step back, because you'll never forget that feeling after being so clean and clear and then having that cheese pizza. You'll be like, oh, why did I do that, right? Especially, animal products, like I've talked about, how their hormones and stresses are very, very high when their meat and their milk and eggs are taken. So we're ingesting all of that. What else do I have for you? If you have done the fast and you're easing back into things, you have the goal of not getting too deep into processed foods again. Remember your healthy fats. The avocados, the nuts, the seeds, all of those things are going to be great for satiation. Squashes, potatoes, allow yourself those things that are going to help you, right? Because if we push so hard against something, it's kind of like pushing it against a spring. We're going to bounce back, right? So we need to allow ourselves to meet the need. And of course, if you really want to get deep into things, often the suggestion is that those cravings come from parasites and or just organisms like Candida that are living in your body, and those are the things that are craving the pizza and the bread. If you really want to go deep, you can contact me. I will save that for another day. I can let you know how to get rid of those things as well. Just remember that we hear the term that we confuse our thirst for hunger. The body is not confused. The body does not attack itself. The body is perfectly designed to heal and to repair. And so when we are confusing our hunger for thirst, we're hungry for watery foods. And that's cucumbers and apples and melons, right? That our bodies are designed to get the distilled water through the process of growing in fruit. And so we are looking for watery fruits and vegetables instead of confusing our hunger for thirst. So remember that to make sure that you're consuming a lot of watery foods. I mean, look at around you. When you look at the processed foods, there is no water in any of it. It is all dry and dead and, and dehydrated to the max. So what is that going to do to your body, right? That's not the kind of food that we're designed to take in. So other tips to getting out of the sugar habit and to sustaining this clean, clear environment, this antenna to our creator, is lowering stress, lots and lots of sleep and rest. And actually, when we are tired, we didn't get enough sleep, we're going to feel hungry, right? That it causes the imbalance in hormones again. The adrenaline is going to go high so that we intake more food so we can create more energy because we didn't get it from sleeping like we should have. And so just stay away from salts and sugars and things that are going to confuse the body, as well as repairing the body, getting more sleep. And look for hidden sugars too. If you do eat processed foods, read your labels. Very, very often there's going to be sugar as top 3 ingredients, and that's a scary thing. There's lots of good brands out there. Whole Foods, something called Outpost is local to us, where they have all of the local good brands, where you can actually find a cracker that's literally made with just flaxseed, right? So those are the kinds of things that if you're going to have a processed food, that would be so much better for you. So this is my New Year's gift to you. I love you guys. Let's get clean and clear, because 2022 is going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. And we want to be in alignment, in our integrity, and moving through our life divinely guided. So that is all I have for you today. I am sending you so much love. Contact me if you need anything, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.